Live from the Sims Tower in the Robinson Auto Group studio, we are AM 1600 WKKX.
Hello, everybody, as Jordan's checking his phone.
Well, you were playing that thing. I figured I had a minute. Sarah's out walking bones, and she texted me. She said, he pooped, and I can't find anything to pick it up with.
Oh, man, if I had known that, she could have gotten in my car. I've got bags. You know, I mean, I keep them in there just for that instance that...
Oh, she looks happy. Well, welcome to Whispers, everybody. I'm Jordan Klein. She's Lola Miller.
Are you going back out? Wait, I think I got a bag in here somewhere.
See, and that's right. Whispers, we do our part to keep this city clean.
That's right.
That's right.
We are responsible pet owners.
Who picks up their dog poop? Sarah picks up my dog's poop.
Oh, Bones, you hear how he's talking.
Oh, he does. He misses her.
Yes, I know.
He's the biggest mama's boy, I think, of any possibility. We'll be sitting on the couch, and he'll just look at me and whine, and I'll, like, scoot back, and he'll walk over to her and kind of, like, crawl up. Like, he won't jump. He'll just kind of, like, crawl and, like, pull himself up. It's funny. Give us a call, 304-214-1600. If you're out of the area, it's 1-866-514-1600. We got a caller?
Yes, we do. It's Pappy.
Pappy!
Jordan, I listen to you guys every week.
Well, really? I listen to you every week, Pappy.
No, you don't. I don't call in every week.
Oh.
But most of the time I do. I get one call, but when there's something that irks me, then I call in.
What's up?
But here's what I want to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Now, I know Lola, and you know what? I'm split because I've never seen a ghost or never had anything exotic happen to me in my house or anything. So, you know, but I don't disbelieve in ghosts. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, what I'm asking you, but I've got a dog, and I know a lot of people have pets out there. When you go to these sessions or like down to Moundsville Penitentiary or anything,
yeah.
Does anybody ever think of, or are you allowed, or has anybody ever used a dog? Because, hey, like when my dog is sitting in here beside me and we're watching TV, if his hair raises, there's somebody out at the end of my block that I don't hear or can see or anything.
Really?
And, and that's most pets.
You know, I'll be honest, I have never even thought of it.
That's what
I don't know if the pen would allow pets in, just because, all the regulations and rules. I mean, the building has a lot of areas that are falling apart, and they're really iffy on what's allowed.
Well, I mean, if you got them on a leash and they're right beside you.
That's a good idea.
I mean, because, look. Hey, when an earthquake or something happens, what do they do?
The animals scatter first.
They put them dogs. No, but what I'm saying, when they bring them rescue dogs in, hey, and they sniff and they start scratching on wood, they start digging, they find a person that me and you would never know were there. And I was just, that's been a thing because I listen to you guys every Monday. And I'm just thinking, hey, does anybody ever think of using a dog or a cat or something to see if, hey, maybe when there's, one of your places where there's I don't know what you're going to call it. But hey,
Lola's got a comment to it.
Maybe there's a ghost or a spook that maybe before you could detect it with your machinery and that maybe that dog would act different, or that cat.
Ghost Hunters International they don't take the dog, but I remember one particular castle that's why they actually took the case, was because one of the caretakers had a couple of dogs, and these dogs every once in a while would go absolutely bonkers, like in the courtyard, chasing something, although no one could see anything. And so they figured that's what it was. And I've heard more stories about, now, my dog doesn't do it necessarily, but the cats, all of a sudden, they'll just stop and stare off into a corner, and there's absolutely nothing there.
Yeah.
There is nothing there. And then they'll kind of freak, jump up and run. So I don't know, and I live in a really old house, so I've been told it could very well have some spirit activity connected to it. But
that's what I'm telling you, Lola. It may not be a dog. It may be a cat.
Cats are uber sensitive.
Yeah, I've heard more stuff from cats than I have dogs. But I will tell you this. That's definitely going to be a question in my arsenal for the ghost hunters that we have on the air.
Because, like I'm saying, if you look, because I'm telling you, I got the dumbest dog in town.
Aw, Pappy.
I got the dumbest dog. But you know what? If he's sitting down here and we're watching TV and somebody hits my gate 140 foot away, his hair comes up on his back, and I don't even know anybody's out there.
Oh, I know.
He
Gretchen's
knows.
like that. She can smell a dog coming before it ever gets down the block and turns the corner. She's up in that window, barking like crazy, because I think they can smell it. I've heard that they can smell their owner from like lots of miles away.
So, I mean, that was my question, because I listen to you guys every Monday, and I was just thinking, with all this high-tech machines and that you use, because like I said, the jury's out on me.
Yeah.
Whether there's ghosts or not, or things are explainable, but if these animals get hype or something, say you marked, say you walked the dog through Moundsville Penitentiary, which I know you've gone plenty of times.
Yeah.
And that dog starts acting strange.
It would be worth it just to have a recorder or something there. Yeah, right. I totally agree. That's very interesting.
Something that you couldn't pick up, but maybe your dog or maybe a cat, like Lola says, her cats go crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, some animal like that. I think that's something to be checked out. That because like I'm telling you. And even in today, I mean, these police dogs and that, if there's an earthquake where buildings are down, they don't rely on me and you to smell bodies or something under there that are buried.
Yeah.
They rely on dogs, so they get a better sense to know what you and I do.
Yeah. That's really interesting, Pappy. Thanks for your call. We do got our guest on the line.
Okay, buddy.
Thank you.
Pappy.
Yeah, I'll listen.
Like I said, that's really interesting. I do also want to bring up awakenedradio.net. It's an internet radio. Donna Devane, she's doing a fundraiser for their organization from noon to 6 on, let me see, what day? Saturday. This Saturday from noon to 6. Books, graduation gifts, all kinds of different stuff. A lot of guests about all kinds of different topics. Awakenedradio.net. Help them out. This equipment stuff ain't cheap. So, yeah, check that out. Our guest today should be fun. Mr. Aaron Kaplan. His book is Deep Analysis, Frightening Conclusion. We're going to be talking. I don't even want to mention what we're going to be talking about. I think it's pretty interesting, all the stuff. Aaron, are you with us?
I sure am.
Hey, all right. Let's delve into this book because it starts off like a UFO book, and I don't think that it is a UFO book.
You're absolutely right.
So tell me about it.
It seems to be that the last 40, 50 years, every time we hear the word Roswell, we think UFOs.
Yeah.
Sure, something happened at Roswell, like on July 3rd, July 4th, 47. But UFO is not the main theme. It's very strange. Unlike many other guests that you probably had on or authors, I'm going to give you the answer right away off the bat. The answer for the crashes in Roswell is pure DNA. I know it sounds unbelievable. What it simply was is an experiment of some old entities that have been on this planet in prison for about 55,000 years. They've been using the little Norman Grays that we all hear about as guinea pigs. And on those 2 days when those UFOs came crashing, now remember, not one. There were between 7 and 9 crashes, the whole area. Corona, St. Augustine, the whole area. Now, I'm going to connect 3 dots for you that you never heard before connected.
Okay.
There's a whole trick to the game, and that's exactly what the U.S. government is trying to prevent you from knowing. 3 simple dots, which occurred basically in a 4.5 months period, starting at the crashes at Roswell. That's the main last incident. Now, if I ask you what happened roughly 1 week before the crashes at Roswell, you'll probably tell me, I have no idea, or refer to the atomic bomb of Hiroshima. The answer is no.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Right. Roughly on June 24th, 1947, 1 week earlier, a private business pilot named Kenneth Arnold was flying right over the state of Washington in the area of Mount Rainier. And that's on record. He has seen 9 flying discs.
Really?
When he landed, he gave a full report to the state trooper at the airport. One catch. 8 of the discs were perfectly round, with a diameter roughly between 35 to 50 feet. One UFO, the lead one, was not exactly round. You ever see a picture of those UFOs that are semi-curved, like a curved ring?
Like a curved ring.
Well,
like kind of like boomerang shaped?
Right.
Okay.
Right. The lead UFO had that shape, but only one. Now, let's go back to Roswell. One of the UFOs that crashed in Corona, only one, was shaped just like that. So what I'm doing now, I'm connecting 2 dots. I'm stating that the 9 UFOs roughly that crashed at Roswell on July 3rd, 1947 are the same exact UFOs that Kenneth Arnold saw 1 week earlier, flying information over Mount Rainier, Washington. This is a fantastic find, if you can connect the dots the right way.
Now, are you able to trace it from, point A to point B?
Yep, I got maps and all, and I went over and over and over again. And the more I dig, the more it becomes a reality. Now, the question is, when Kenneth Arnold saw those 9 UFOs flying in broad daylight, where were they going to? I got to be careful now. Because remember, I wrote a book as fact. And I don't want to sound like a science fiction writer. So I want you and the listener just to keep a clear mind to where I'm going with it. Then I'll go to my 3rd dot. I'm claiming that those 9 UFOs had a very distinct destination. They were on a secret mission to perform a very secret DNA experiment for the old Nephilim.
No, we're talking about the fallen angels in the Bible.
That's correct. According to the books that the Sitka wrote, etc., etc., etc. They were in prison here for a long time, and they're not being kept here by chains or by, jail. No. They're being kept here by an invisible screen, which is all around the Earth, roughly quarter million miles away, all around the Earth. It's an invisible screen that is meant to hone in, detect, and destroy a specific DNA that belongs only to those fallen angels.
Really? See, I never really, I guess in my brain asked the question whether or not, like, angels and demons had DNA.
Well, the angel, you got to be careful with the word angel. Angels are strictly an old tale story for old people from the Old Testament, the New Testament. Look at them as entities. That's all they are. We call them angels in the old days because that's all we knew. But all they are entities, which are composed of the old cherubim, the Ophanim, and the seraphim.
Uh-huh.
They're just entities. Like I said, I got to be very careful. If I get too fancy, I'm going to lose you all.
Well, you would be surprised. We had a particle physicist on a couple weeks ago. We were actually able to keep up to some degree.
Yeah, well, that's great. Now, the problem is that invisible screen, which I call in my book the gamma G barrier, originates on the moon. The old Anunnaki put a power plant there. That's the exact reason why that barrier is all around the Earth, exactly 250,000 miles away. Because it's the exact distance of the moon to the Earth. Am I correct, roughly?
You can make up any number you want to, buddy. I have no clue.
Right.
I'm just a host.
I understand. And in a fun way, that's also another reason why many people wondered why, now that's officially now, I'm talking about official knowledge.
Uh-huh.
Why did mankind or our astronauts never ventured beyond the moon, the distance of 250,000 miles away? Why? Very simply, with all those last 1,000 of years, through intermarriages, as you well know, the old story, the Nephilim married women, beautiful women, whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Their DNA is in us. So what I'm saying, that's a true reason why the average astronaut or the average person cannot fly beyond the distance of the moon. Because
of the screen.
That's correct.
Huh.
It's that simple. It's pathetic, isn't it?
It's definitely interesting.
Okay, now, and if you also notice, the space station, the SST, which was closed some months ago because of some other reasons that they won't discuss right now, its orbit was exactly between 170,000 miles and 210,000 miles. Never beyond the theoretical 250,000 miles away, from the Earth. Always inside the envelope.
Now, do you think there's any way around that? Is there any way we can get past that at all?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's part of my story.
Okay.
But before I get to that, I'm going to connect the third and final dot. Very, very important. Super important. Your next question. Do you know, Pen, anything major that happened just prior to the sighting of Kenneth Arnold? You're probably going to say no.
Yeah, probably.
Right. It's not a secretive, but it was made secret for a reason. It's a major operation, which was initiated by the U.S. Navy back in January, February of 1947, called Operation High Jump. Now, the U.S. government is terrified. They never want us to connect those three dots in line. You know why?
Why?
If we connect those three dots, Operation High Jump, the Kenneth Arnold sighting, and Roswell, I call it checkmate.
No, are all those UFOs similar? Is that what you're saying? Or they are the same UFOs?
If all UFOs started, which I call we disturbed the cuckoo's nest, back in February of 1947. Now I'm going to get to Operation High Jump. That's the main leader.
Uh-huh.
It's phenomenal. Roughly 40 to 45 warships left the States in three groups heading toward Antarctica. 3 aircraft carriers, the U.S. Philippine Sea, Casablanca, destroyers, submarines, you name it. Now, officially, it was supposed to be a very peaceful scientific experiment. Okay? Scientific cruise of 40 ships. Now, let me ask you a question. When did you ever hear of a peaceful fleet of 40 warships going down to Antarctica?
I've never heard of it.
Okay.
And this was 46 and 47?
From January of 46, the whole thing ended in the second week of February.
Now, see, what I'm reading right now is that it was 4,700 men and 13 ships with multiple aircrafts.
That's wrong. 40 ships.
Okay.
There were 40 ships. Like I said, you have to be careful of what website you read.
Well, I'm on the good, reliable Wikipedia.
I know. And I'll give you proof in a few minutes. Real proof that beyond shadow of a doubt will show you how pathetic it is. In a way, it's real. In a way, it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 40 ships going down to Antarctica. The original reason they gave is to find minerals, okay? But the hidden agenda was so-called to extract some so-called Nazis hiding in Antarctica that fled Europe, okay?
Okay, so they're looking for Nazis.
That's the excuse.
Okay, yeah, that'd be really cold.
It's a good excuse. I mean, it sounds legit. They didn't want to tell anybody that Nazis escaped to Antarctica because then it would start like a World War III, So it was a scientific expedition. Except one thing happened. The leader of Operation High Jump was a very famous admiral called Admiral Byrd. And many people heard of him, many didn't. What became very famous is in 1995, used to be a radio show called The Old Art Bell Show.
Well, Coast to Coast is still going, ain't it?
Yep. But it's not the same show anymore. The original Art Bell Show was strictly run by Art Bell. And back in 1995, the grandson of Admiral Byrd brought in what's called the very famous Admiral Byrd's diary. Everybody's talking about it. Wow, his diary. But you know something? It was never a diary.
Really?
In reality, it was a flight logbook. I'm a private pilot. Every time I go fly a Cessna 150, whatever, I open my logbook. I write in the tail number, tires okay, kick the tire, the door, the engine, the magnetos, whatever.
Yeah.
Everything is fine. Well, the real bull that Admiral Byrd had with him was the U.S. Navy logbook that it filled in every day. Now, since I already told you that, the big secret, we'll never say diary. It only became diary after Admiral Byrd returned from that Operation High Jump, battling wherever he battled. And the U.S. government was very, very conveniently took the logbook, which was, by the way, written only in his handwriting, added some other pages later on that Admiral Byrd typed in a typewriter, and all you see is a typewritten version called Admiral Byrd's Diary. If anything was fudged in between or in the middle, you'll never know. But I caught it. And the answer will mystify you. So let's go back now to Operation High Jump.
Okay.
Admiral Byrd is in charge of the whole operation. One aircraft carrier called the Philippine Sea was full with about 75 fighter aircraft, the old Corsair, the propeller types. But on the deck, before any fighter can take off to do any battle or whatever, Admiral Byrd was assigned a special mission to map an area of Antarctica around a small base called Little America. He was given in charge of 6 aircrafts. We know them as the old DC-3s. However, for this mission, each one of the 6 aircraft DC-3s was converted to a code name RD-4s. Why? With each aircraft, there's very, very special cameras on them, called trimetricon cameras, built by Kodak. I'm going to give you one clue. Those trimetricon cameras, they only operate and function in the extreme daylight, okay? And the film that those cameras carried were very sensitive to daylight. The reason why they call it trimetricon is the 3 lenses, one pointing to the ground from magnetic reading, one at 45 degrees, and one straight to the horizon. But remember, daylight only, okay?
Yes, sir.
I'm giving you a clue. It's very important, because you're going to laugh. So the 6 RD-4s took off on January 29th, and Admiral Byrd was in the second plane. By the way, those planes were chained to the deck of the aircraft carrier Philippine Sea with chains, with skis. With skis.
With skis?
With skis. They only had about 3-inch clearance from the surface of the ski to the deck, believe it or not. With a small wheel. Just enough for takeoff. Because remember, when Admiral Byrd was going to land those planes in a small base in Antarctica, it's ice and snow. So Admiral Byrd was in the second plane to take off from the aircraft carrier. All 6 planes took off very successfully, heading toward approximately an 800-mile mission to a small base in Antarctica called Little America 4.
Little America 4.
Right.
Okay.
Now they're on their way. What Admiral Byrd didn't know is it was going to take place the next few days with the fleet back they left behind, including the aircraft carrier. Here's the other half of the story. When the fleet entered Antarctica, everything was very peaceful. No planes inside, no UFOs, nothing. Beautiful, beautiful weather. Daylight.
Well, as beautiful as one weather could be in Antarctica.
Right. Penguins.
It was a beautiful negative 100-degree day.
But it was sunny. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the command was given to open fire. Okay? It's a peaceful scientific fleet open fire. Suddenly, on certain, what we're seeing is underground ice installations on the horizon. As soon as our fleet opened fire, all hell, pardon the word, all HELL broke loose. Okay. UFOs came out of nowhere.
Really?
2 types of UFOs came out. One, the old type that you see in magazines, the Nazi insignia, and the little cannons in the bottom, called the Bale, the Grin, or whatever the Nazis built in the World War II. Some.
So you're saying the UFOs were Nazi ships?
They made them look like a Nazi ship, but they were not controlled by the Nazis. They may have had Nazi pilots, but the supervision were strictly by alien entities, the Nephilim. Let me explain what happened.
Wow.
Those UFOs opened fire on our fleet and caused so much damage in 2 hours that our fleet had to stop firing. Suddenly, out of nowhere, another bunch of UFOs appears from under the water, going right over our ships, over our carriers. They were huge. They were roughly about 3/8 to 1/2 mile in diameter.
So they came up out of the water and then flew in the air?
Right. They didn't fire one shot.
Were they called USOs? I think I heard that term before.
I couldn't really tell you. But those UFOs were the real thing, piloted by the Nephilim, okay?
Okay.
They were strictly used as observation posts to see what's going on. They didn't fire one shot. They came out of the water, flew over our fleet, and right back into the water at super high speeds. The next few days, the same ritual happened. Whenever our fleet opened fire on certain fortifications in Antarctica, they fired back at us.
Really?
And stopped. When we stopped, they stopped. That went on for a few days. After a week and a half, we lost about 7 to 8 ships, including a U.S. aircraft carrier called the Casablanca. We put our tails between our legs and headed back home.
Yeah, on that note, let me stop you. We got to take a short break. And we're going to find out what happens next and how the government, I guess, excused these deaths. You're listening to Whispers Radio. We're talking about some UFOs. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Whispers Radio here on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog, and UPRN, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. It is 6:41, 79. Every time I look at that clock, or the temperature, it's something different. Yeah. Give us a call, 304-214-1600. If you're out of the area, call 1-866-514-1600. That's toll free. Our guest today, Mr. Aaron Kaplan. We're talking about his book, Deep Analysis, Frightening Conclusion, and we have a caller.
Yeah, this is Bill.
Bill.
Yes, Aaron, I'd like to ask you 2 questions, if I may.
Sure.
Okay, the first question, when these alien craft fired upon our, vessels, was there any tangible evidence of the firings? Was there any, whatever they used to shoot at us, found or anything?
No, it was each alien craft with a Nazi insignia that fired on our fleet had 2 to 4 little cannons in the bottom, or what looked like little cannons. And the same cannons appeared, if you've seen pictures, during World War II, at the end of the war, on certain Panzer German tanks. There were specific sound weapons that shot kinetic energy. They were not real cannons. They looked like it, but they weren't.
Sound energy.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Interesting, Aaron. One other question. Let's say 5, 10, 20 years from now, our technology proceeds, and we go past the 250,000-mile shield to, let's say, Mars. Does that, disrupt your theory or anything?
No, because actually it's roughly about a year and a half ago, if you remember, around March of 2009, President Obama suddenly out of nowhere very mysteriously approved the full stem cell research, okay, which President Bush denied. I believe that there was a hint that our aliens found what they needed, and as of that date, by the way, if you check around, you'll see that many, if not all, the abductions almost ceased.
So
I believe that...
You think that Obama was influenced by the aliens?
Oh, I'm not going to say directly, but his surroundings influenced him, and by now I believe that those aliens figured out exactly which DNA they need to penetrate that barrier. And if I told you originally that the little Greys in Roswell were guinea pigs, I'm going to go one step further, and I don't cut the radio off. I believe that many of our astronauts in space that came back from the moon mission so incoherent, never spoke to anybody and threw up and was sick, I believe that they were also, maybe not all of them, but some of them were used as guinea pigs. I believe that the blood in their bodies were, exchanged or diluted or filtered or whatever.
Aaron, what is your opinion? There was talk in the past that the Nazis had collaborated with quote-unquote aliens or whatever, and that's where they developed this high technology. What's your opinion of that?
Oh, that's definite. Days of Hitler in the Black Forest in Germany, there was a rumor that a UFO crash, but it's not true. There was a meeting in 1936 in the Black Forest in Germany with the aliens and the Nazis where they signed the first pact. And remember, 1936. 4 years later, we, the Allies, with President Roosevelt, signed a very similar pact. But it's 4 years later. That's exactly why Germany was so much more advanced than us. They're 4 years ahead with secrets of weapons.
So, Aaron, angels is a loose term, right? If they, collaborated with Nazis who we all, think were the bad people, then, what was the reason behind that?
Now, I want to interject here. Now, the Nephilim are the fallen angels, so they're biblically they're the ones that came down with the devil, got booted out. So they're not exactly the nice ones.
That's what I was getting at, but they're still angels,
Well, they're called angels in religious terms, but remember, when I read the Bible now, I happen to be Jewish.
Okay.
When I read the Old Testament or the New Testament, I do not read it as a religious book. I got to be very careful. I strictly use it as a scientific reference book. To me, angel means nothing. To me, the word angel means just another entity.
Okay.
You got to be very careful.
Okay. Well, that makes more sense. The Bible's just based on faith, anyways.
Well, there are very good stories in the Bible, many, many accurate. But you have to know how to read it relatively, using your brain, whether you lived 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, or today.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be very careful.
Well,
if you read the Bible the right way, man, let me tell you something. It contains so much information, it's unbelievable.
Yes. I enjoyed this conversation. We should go on for a couple more hours. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for your call, Bill. See you, Bill.
Yeah, I think everybody has to remember that by using the term Nephilim or anything like that is just something to identify something that they didn't understand. And the best description of something from out there would be angel or fallen angel, or to describe a different entity than us. That's all.
So we're talking that the creatures that we're talking about here in your specific case, we're talking aliens.
Of course.
Okay.
They're a bunch of aliens who actually, you see, the Nephilim are not the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki is another race that employed the Nephilim to do DNA experiments on the planets that they terraformed many thousands of years earlier. It's a chain reaction. What you heard, what you read in stories, you see, you have to look at it a different way. The Anunnaki are the big kahunis. They are the bosses, the old gods, are like Enki, Enlil, and so forth. They employed the angelic entities called the cherubim, the Ophanim, and the seraphim as DNA manipulators. The Anunnakis terraform planets. Then, many thousands of years later on, they hire a bunch of aliens to form life. It's a chain reaction. It's very simple.
Now, I want to gear this in a bit of a different direction just because we're getting really tight on time. One thing you also mentioned in your letter to me is you talk about a second Garden of Eden on Mars.
Yeah.
So how are we getting to Mars if we can't get past the moon?
I'll explain very quickly.
Okay.
In other words, in days of Noah, has been a righteous person, a righteous man. Okay. The word righteous refers to Noah's pure DNA.
Uh-huh.
Now, Noah's mother was human.
Noah's mother was human.
But his father was not. If you read many books, you'll see I'm correct. But it's very hard to explain on a very short show.
Yeah.
Gilgamesh, just the reverse. His mother was a goddess, but his father was human. Just the reverse. You have to be very careful. You have to be very careful. And if you read the book of Enoch, it says the Nephilim fell down to earth in the days of Jared.
Uh-huh.
It was very specific. It says in the days of Jared. Jared is the seventh generation from Noah. And the Sumerian tablets explain very clearly in the book of Zechariah 6:2 on page 429 that Noah appeared, he was born, exactly 49,000 years ago. He was not born on earth. He was not born on earth. He was born on Mars.
Now, where...
With his whole family. What happened 55,000 years ago, some stupid, the son of Enki, his name is Marduk, I call him Hot Fingers Marduk, went to destroy a planet called, it's a water planet.
Okay.
Went to destroy it. His mother warned him, be careful, because Mars and Venus are in the area. Well, he didn't pay attention. The planet was called Tiamat. It was a water planet. The minute he destroyed Tiamat with a weapon called the Spear of Destiny, he accidentally, I believe the beam, reflected off the waters of Tiamat or went straight through Tiamat and hit Mars, causing the waters of Mars to evaporate almost instantaneously. Many people died.
Now, no,
there was another civilization on Mars.
I got to ask,
like
what is this in the Book of Enoch? I just
want
want
book.
I just want to know where the Mars connection comes in.
That's my connection.
Oh, okay.
Because all those landing strips and Nazca planes in Central America, they're from rocket ships. Now, listen to this. The Anunnaki don't use rocket ships. It's a race over 45 million years old. No, they do. Beam me up, Scotty. They use UFOs.
Yeah.
If you read books of rocket ships meant by the Anunnaki, that is not correct. That's an error that I calculated. All the landing strips and Nazca lines in the Middle East belong to the Martians that fled Mars roughly 55,000 years ago. They came down, I don't know what the book says in the Old Testament, whatever, flaming ships, rocket, smoke, and brim. That belonged to the human Martians that came here. And one more thing, the Incas were the original inhabitants of this planet, the original humans created here. They could not coexist with the new or arrival Martians. You know why?
Why?
They were too smart for them, too powerful. They had to flee to Central America.
Uh-uh.
And the people today in Europe, most of the white men, some others, are, in reality, the Martians. That's us.
So the white people are really Martians?
White or whatever, but the real modern ones, smart ones, that always build super weapons, many weapons they brought with them, some rusted out, 2,000 of years, are the one with the brains. They can always farm better and build better machineries, were the fleeing Martians.
Now,
the one in Central America, the Incas, are the original Earthlings. There's very close similarity.
So the Incans are the original Earthlings, and
that's correct. That's correct. They couldn't compete.
Now, are there any other? I have somebody talking in the chat room about Venus.
I have no idea. None. I'm going to be very honest with you.
What has solidified your decision that life came, or these beings came from Mars? What led you to Mars?
The Old Testament, there are a few statements where it says where Noah's family is crying to Lamesh and saying, Why did God bring us here to this forsaken land? We're so tired. The reason why is you have to remember one thing. The gravity of Mars is roughly 38% that of Earth. So if you bring a human being from a planet which is much higher gravity, what are you going to do all day long? You're going to bitch and moan and complain. I'm tired. It's too heavy. We can't live here anymore. Now remember, that statement was made not after the flood, but way, way before.
Huh.
It's very tricky. It's very, very tricky, I know. It's very tricky.
No, I'm glad I'm still not in Mars, because if the gravity was more, I would weigh a lot more, and I don't think I could handle that.
That's correct. So if you came from Mars here with all family, all your children, all your brother-in-laws, what are we doing here? Why'd you bring us here? We're so tired we can't live here. But there's no choice.
Now, which Garden of Eden came first?
I believe that Mars was created first. That's why the Martians were smarter than us. I'll say about 10,000 years. And I got a picture in my book called The Temple of Abydos, where it shows like a jet plane, a tank, a UFO, a helicopter. I believe that those entities, the real Martians, tried to hide it as a time capsule.
Huh.
That picture, the placard, got exposed by accident. It was inside a very big temple in Abydos, and on top of that, there was a piece of marble glued on or pasted on that fell to the floor. That marble fell to the floor, it exposed the picture of the helicopter, tank, flying saucer, and a jet plane. That means that those people used it before, and I believe that many blueprints of those weapons were hidden. Some were in very deep vaults and were released during World War II. Slowly, to both sides.
Wow. Since we are out of time, I want to give you another minute. Just tell everybody out there why they need to go buy your book. What are they going to learn?
My book, I believe, is very, very realistic. It's a no-nonsense book. It's right to the point. And it's called Deep Analysis, Friday Conclusion. Just Google it. Buy it anywhere from the publisher or from the Amazon. It's a very realistic book. And if you have any questions, trust me. If you read the whole book, it will be self-explanatory. It's phenomenal. Full facts.
Now, where you have a website, right?
Yes.
What's your website?
Well, my website is not advertised in most places. But if you Google my name, or the book's name, Deep Analysis, Friday Conclusion, it will bring you to my website.
Okay. I know a website for your book that I saw was deepanalysisfrighteningconclusion.com.
That's one. That's correct.
Okay. That's the one I had written down. Okay. Can we get you on Amazon too?
Yes, you can.
All righty. So get out, buy the book, Deep Analysis, Frightening Conclusion. We've had a lot of comments and a lot of calls about it, so it should be interesting, and hopefully we can tell you some books there, Aaron.
Now, do your best, and like I said, whenever you want me to be the show again, discuss other topics, I'm more than happy to.
I really enjoyed it. Aaron Kaplan, thank you very much, sir, and we'll talk with you again.
Bye, and thank you.
Bye-bye. Well, Lola, how do you feel?
I think everybody knows if you start quoting Bible books and things like I am lost. I have no idea what's in the book of Enoch or any other.
Well, the book of Enoch's not in the Bible. It's
that's right. That's the one that.
That's the one that came out later, and it's about angels.
Mm-hmm. I just think everybody needs to remember that this was not anywhere near a discussion about angels from heaven. This was just about entities, and that's what they happen to be. Just like, why were we called man, or dog, or because it's a name that's been attached to it.
Yeah,
not
and please,
because that's what they are.
I don't want to get any phone calls later, okay, about saying that we were trash talking any of the president or anybody else, Bush, Obama. I don't want to hear any of that because he said they were talking about stem cell research. Well, I've gotten crazier comments and gotten in trouble for less. So if I hear anybody, I'm coming after somebody.
Well, he was just saying that someone in his circle may have told him something that influenced a decision that was made, and not badly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I thought the whole doing away with stem cell research was ridiculous.
I agree.
And so I don't see anything.
No, I just figured I'd throw that out there before I got any phone calls later from John or anybody else. I just don't want in trouble for political things, especially in a political year. So, everybody, until next week, we love you. Mm-hmm. And don't be afraid. Only believe.